Good morning, Morai Rabotai, Bruchim Abayim. Welcome everyone. We are continuing our Masechet Makkot, and we're on top of Daf Yud Bet, Amud Aleph, 6 lines down from the top of the Amud by 2 dots. Nigmar, Dino, today's Amud is being learned. The Zchut, the Flash of Rachel Simcha Bat Nahid, that should have a full recovery. Flash also as a Zchut for Yehuda ben Asher and Anael Ram, Rasha Korbishah Divam Letovab, by Menachem Kashanian, also dedicated for Asher Ma of Mordechai, Afshin ben Shoshana Shanaz, that should have full recovery from his Machala Bezat Hashem. Amen. This week's learning to the Kehillah has been sponsored by the Dayan family, Cohen family, and Shea families. It also is good for all of their families. Bezat Hashem. Amen. So we mentioned in the Mishnah that if the din, the judgment, the verdict of this Roseach is given, and then he's outside, inside, what exactly the halacha is going to be, and the Mishnah gave an example of Yoav ben Tzruya, right? That was the example in the Mishnah, that even if he's like Yoav ben Tzruya, you still keep the halachot of Arei Miklat. So the Gemara from that goes on a tangent to mention that Yoav ben Tzruya is not just a random example, but rather Yoav ben Tzruya, as we mentioned before, he himself made a mistake in the parasha of Arei Miklat, in the parasha specifically about a person that has a death verdict hanging over his head, because he was exactly that when he came out of the Bedin of Shlomo HaMelech, and he ran to take refuge, but not in Arei Miklat, rather in the Mikdash, holding on to the Mizbeach. Now the Gemara says on that, Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, Shte ta'uyot ta'a Yoav be'ota shah. 2 mistakes were the mistakes of Yoav ben Tzruya in that moment. Dichtiv, Vayanos Yoav el Oel Hashem ve'chazek bekarnot hamizbeach. He ran to Oel Hashem, to the Mishkan that was in Shiloh, and he grabbed hold onto the Mizbeach, to the corners of the Mizbeach, the Karnot HaMizbeach. So says Rabbi Yehuda Marav, first of all, his mistake was She'eno kolet el hagago. The fact that the Mizbeach actually could become a sanctuary is a concept that is true, but not the corners of the Mizbeach. You got to be on top of the Mizbeach for it to be acting as a sanctuary, as Arei Miklat. Vehu tafas bekarotav. He was just grabbing hold on the corners of the Mizbeach. He was not actually on top of the Mizbeach. And secondly, ta'a she'eno kolet ela Mizbeach bet olamim. Second major mistake was that this halacha is only said once the Beit HaMikdash is built. Here is about 4 years before the Beit HaMikdash was built. The Beit HaMikdash was built only by Shlomo HaMelech later on, and this is by Mishkan Shiloh, which would not have this whole parsha of being koled altogether, even on top of the Mizbeach would not be koled at this juncture of time. He was holding on to the Mizbeach that was in Shiloh in the time of Mishkan, not the Beit HaMikdash. Abaye says that there was another third mistake as well. A third mistake was Behana bimit ata ta'a she'eino kolet el kohen ve'avoda biyado. It only is a sanctuary, is a safe zone for a kohen while doing the avodah. In other words, the pasuk says, "Me'im mizbechi tikachenu lamut," speaking about the kohen, that if a kohen is chayav mitah, you take him to his death penalty, even from the mizbeach. And says Abaye, correct that we learn, "Me'im mizbechi velo al mizbechi." You take him from the mizbeach, but not from on top of the mizbeach. So the top of the mizbeach is considered a safe zone for a Kohen while doing the Avodah, but that's exactly what it is. We're talking about on top of the Mizbeach of the Beit HaMikdash, and for a Kohen, that is amidst doing his Avodah on top of the Mizbeach, not for somebody that just goes there for Arei Miklat, so to speak, is sitting there protesting on top of the Mizbeach. That's not going to work. It has to be something that is a process of the Beit HaMikdash in its action. Says the Gemara. Speaking about, let's finish the sentence first. And Yoav ben Surya, of course, was a non-Kohen, and he was not busy with doing Avodah anyways. So Resh Lakish says now, talking about 3 mistakes on Arei Miklat, we will have, Be'ezrat Hashem, another 3 mistakes and Arei Miklat in future as well. Says Resh Lakish, Shalosh ta'uyot atid tzaro shel Romi lit'od. 3 mistakes are going to be done by the Malach, the Sar of Edom, of Rome, as well. We are, of course, currently in the Galut Edom, what we call it, the 4th and the final Galut. They are mentioned, of course, in Sefer Daniel, in Perek Zayin and Perek Yud Bet, in 2 different visions that he had, that they're going to be formed, and this is well known, before starting from, Malchut Bavel, and Paras Umadai, and then Yavan and Edom, being the final ones. Our Kadosh adds also a short period of the governing element of Malchut Yishmael on top of that, which is a different topic, a fascinating topic for a different time, but nevertheless, the Saro Shel Romi in future is going to make this 3 mistakes. Dichtiv, as it says, Mize ba me'edom chamutz begadim mi botzra. Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to be coming back from Edom, from smiting and destroying the Saro Shel Edom, and homiletically his clothing is going to be splashed with blood. Of course, we talk about the Malach. There's no blood there, but L'saber et ha'ozen, says the Ritva over here, is the imagery that the Pasuk gives from the final fight of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that happens in the city of Basra. Now, Basra is in Moab, right? That's where it is. Now, the Ritva writes that this is a Basra that's going to be in Eretz Yisrael, not a Basra that in Edom. But according to Rashi and other Rishonim, the Basra is really in Moab, but Chazal tell us that there's going to be in Latin about 3 additional Arei Miklat on top of the 6 that Moshe Rabbeinu was commanded. There's going to be 3 more, which is going to be in, one of them is going to end up, 1 or 2 of them are going to end up being in Arei Edom and Moab, and that perhaps is what we were talking about over here. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes from Batzra, and Saro Shel Edom was taking refuge, so to speak, in this city of Batzra, thinking that this is the same thing as Betzer, right? Remember when we mentioned the 6 Arei Miklat, one of the first one is Betzer Bamilah, right? So we had the similarity in the word, and the Ritva says Betzer, sometimes it's called Batzra, and that's the reason for the mistake, and so on. So he's going to be there, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to go there and destroy it, right? So no safe zone there. So what are the mistakes? So it says the Gemara, To'eh she'eno koletet ela Betzer vehu gala leBatzra. It's the city of Betzer that is Arei Miklat, not Batzra. So that's the first mistake. That's like oops. And says the Gemara, To'eh she'eno koletet ela shogeg vehu mezidaya. The second obvious mistake is that the Arei Miklat are only kolet be shogeg, not be mezid, and he was mezid, right? All the blood spill caused by Edom, not really shogeg. To'eh she'no koletet el ha'adam ve'hu malach. And of course, the halachot of Arei Miklat are exactly that. It's for people not for malachim, and we're talking over here about Sarot Shel Esav, Sarot Shel Edom, not people. So says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Abahu, Are Miklat Lo Nitnu Likvura. We spoke about the Goel Adam chasing after the Rotzeach. We spoke about the Rotzeach who dies prior to his, his actual exile. After the verdict is given, he dies and he's buried in Arei Miklat. Obviously, the person that has gone to Arei Miklat, we spoke about the fact that if he dies before the Kohen Gadol dies, he's going to be buried there until later on moved out. So we spoke about Kivura, burial, in Arei Miklat. Says the Gemara, burial, there's no place for burial in Arei Miklat. Right? Lo nitnu likvura. They're not meant for having a cemetery. Dichtiv umigreshehem yiyu lebehemtam velilchusha. That the side areas, the outside of Arei HaLeviim are given for the safekeeping of their flock, their animals, and also for their assets, ulchol chayatam, and also for their livestock. So chayatam is from language of chayim. Lechayim nitenu v'lo likvura. It's given for livestock, for things of life, but not for kivura. So says the Gemara, Meitinu, right? Says the Gemara, it is a question that they asked. Shama, when the pasuk talks about the Rotzeach being there, the pasuk says he will be there. Ve'etzilu ha'eda, and you send the Rotzeach le'ir miklato asher nas shama ve'yashav ba admod kohen hagadol. And says the Gemara, Sham tehe dirato, the drasha from it is, that will be his residence. Sham tehe mitato, that will be his death place. Sham tehe kavurato, that will be his burial place. So you see, the pasuk is indicating, and we learned in the drasha, that the Rotzeach gets buried there. There is actually a bet kvarot for all the Rotzchim who die in Arei Miklat, so there is kvura. Says the Gemara, no, Rotzeach Shani. The Rotzeach is different than the Leviim themselves. The Gali Berachmana, because the pasuk speaks about them being buried there, because it's prior to the death of Kohen Gadol. They will stay there. Ba'aretz, they're living in the earth, as we darshan yesterday. Ezu yeshiva shehu ba'aretz haveh omer ze kivura. So we spoke about the difference between the Arei Leviim for the Leviim and the Arei Leviim for the Rotzeach B'Shogeg. Says the Gemara, Kshem Sha'ir Koletet, we mentioned that outside the city also is a place for a refuge. That when he's running for his life from the Goel Adam, as soon as he gets to the 2,000 amot around the city, that already is a safe zone. You don't have to actually enter the city. Already the tchum of Ir Miklat is collected, is already acting as a safeguard. Says the Gemara, Uminu. It's a question. Because it says, Ve'yashav ba v'lo b'tchuma. He has to live in the city. He can't live in the tchum outside and around the city. Amar Abaya says, that's not a kasha. Lo kasha. Kan liklot, kan ladur. One of them is speaking about what is considered a safe zone, and as soon as you are inside the tchum, even before you enter the city, 2,000 amot around the city also is considered a safe zone that Goel Adam cannot touch. But for living, you're not allowed to live outside the city within the tchum. You have to be in the city proper, in the actual Arei Miklat as your residence. So the Gemara says, that's pashut. I know that from a different drasha. Listen to this drasha. Typically, they don't see Sadeh Mikrash, Shulo Mikrash. Sadeh. There are two psukim that speak about the surrounding areas of the Arei Miklat. One is, and I'm explaining this the way the Ritva explains it. One is, and the Miri, one is that 2,000 amot outside the city proper is considered the Migrashehem. It's a Migrash, and you don't do regular activities in that area, says the Gemara. And the other one is that 1,000 amot around it is going to be Sadeh. So how do you understand it? So the Ritva says 1,000 amot around the city would be a field, right? A field that we had plantations, and then another 1,000 in the radius would be considered an empty land that you don't even plant. It's just the migrashes meant for the landscaping beauty of the cities. You're not allowed to even do plantation there. It's just empty, nice, right? Kept, upkept properly, and it's for the landscaping purposes. It says the Gemara, the drasha is from the language of those two psukim, the en osin sadeh mikrash, that the fields you cannot leave empty, right? From those 2,000, the 1,000 that has to be a field, you keep it as a field. Velo mikrash sadeh, and the area that has to be empty, the second 1,000 amot, you cannot make it sadeh, you cannot plant it either. It has to be kept exactly the way it is said in the pasuk, but there are additional drashot as well. Velo migrash ir, velo ir migrash. You're not allowed to make the migrash part of the city. You can't build housing in the 2,000 amot radius outside the city, in the tchum of the ir. It has to be sadeh, and migrash cannot become part of the ir. That's a whole population problem. We have to expand, and let's build some housing outside the city and expand it. You cannot expand the city. Can't build any housing within the tchum of the ir. Right? And going up or going down. Then water is going to go down, not up. But says the Gemara, Amar Rav Sheshat, Lo nisracha ela lemechilot. We're talking about under the ground tunnel life, right? Normally speaking, it will be mutar to have a tunnel life, so to speak. You have a bunker life out, out and down there with regular people, but by a rotzeach, he's not even allowed to do that. If you have a cave, for instance, right, this becomes a whole question in the halachot of masrot and trumot, outside, inside Eretz Yisrael, other cities. If you have, let's say, a cave that starts, the opening of it is in one city, but the rest of it is in a different city, what is it considered, what reshut is that part of, right? Do we go after the line that cuts from the top, the city, or is it considered as an extension of where the opening of the cave is going down? So this is one application of such, but it's a little different. It's a little different. What I was basically saying, that even though that I can't live in the tchum of the ir, if this cave is under the ground life is fine, as long as on the top you keep the migrash on the sadeh, that's okay, right? A lot of speaking about tunnels in the past few months, but this is tunnels in the Gemara, but the rotzeach is not even allowed to live there because of this pasuk that we just dashed. So it says what happens if the rotzeach comes out of the tchum of ir miklat? Right now, is it for free for all now, or is it different? Tam Rabbanan v'ratzach goel adam et harotzeach, that the goel adam shall kill the rotzeach if he steps out of his ir miklat. The Tanaim had a machloket. What exactly is the meaning of this language? Says the Gemara, mitzvah b'yad goel adam. The Goel Adam has a mitzvah to execute and kill this guy if he steps out of Ir Miklat. It's a mitzvah. So you could say the Shemichud, he puts his strimer on a gartel, right? He goes to mikveh and he shoots the guy, right? That's a mitzvah. Says the Gemara, if the Goel Adam is not there, right? And we only have a regular guy that sees and knows this guy is a Rotzeach, the Shogeg, and now he's stepped out of his boundaries of Ir Miklat, and Goel Adam should be at Goel Adam. It's a permission given to any person. Any person can shoot the guy. But it's not a mitzvah for them. They could do it if they want to, right? If they're out for hunting and they need a target and they see this guy and he's out, then you can shoot him, right? That is the shita of Rabbi Yossi HaGalili. Rabbi Akiva disagrees with him. Rabbi Akiva holds for the Goel Adam is reshut, for all the other people is asur, absolutely asur. I have no business killing this person. Rabbi Akiva Omer reshut biad Goel Adam. He has the permission to kill him if he comes out. It's not a mitzvah, it's a permission. V'chol Adam chayavin alav. If other people kill him, they will be killed. If they have no difference between this person and a regular citizen. So says the Gemara, my Talmud Rabbi Yossi. What's the reason? Well, how did he make this a mitzvah? Where does Rabbi Yossi HaGalili see that this is a mitzvah? Says the Gemara, Mi ketiv, Rabbi Yossi would explain to you, because of the language of the pasuk. Mi ketiv im ratzah. Does the pasuk say if he killed him, he's off the hook? He doesn't say that. It says veratzach. Now, to get a little grammatic, ratzach is past tense. Veratzach is future tense. Because it's vav hahipuch, right? Vav hahipuch means and he will kill. So it says the real Yossi, it says and he will kill. The pasuk is telling you he should kill him. If it comes out, just use past tense. If you want to tell me that it's but the evidence if he killed him is fine, just tell me a past tense language. Why are you telling me and he shall kill him? And he will kill him. It must be that's what the Torah expects you to do. That's what the Torah wants you to do. It's a mitzvah. Rabbi Akiva explains, Rabbi Akiva, miktiv yirtzach. Doesn't explicitly say and he shall kill or he will kill. There are two ways to say a future tense. Right? Yirtzach would be a clear, explicit way of saying he will kill or he shall kill. Veratzach is a past tense made to future tense by usage of vav hahipuch, so it doesn't quite carry the same meaning when it comes to making a diuk for a mitzvah. If he would want me to know that this is a mitzvah, he would say, Yirtzach, he shall kill. When did you find the mitzvah in the Torah that is said in the past tense with vav hahipuch? You don't have that. So says Rabbi Akiva, it means you are allowed to do it. It's not a b'di'evet thing. You're allowed to do it if you want to. But to say it's a mitzvah, no. So there's a little nuance there in grammatic discussions between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yossi HaGalili, but both of them see it from the same pasuk. Says the Gemara. You should do it. You should do it. Right? If you don't do it, you're not punished, but it's a mitzvah. Right? Something that's expected from you. Right? You get your CCW, right? You get the red point, all the, make sure to shoot him. Says the one. Rabbi Akiva miktiv yirtzach, it says, veratzach. Amar Mursutra Bartubi Amar Rav. This is a memra in the name of Rav. Now this gets things complicated. Rotzeach sheyatzach chutz letchum umtzao goel adam veharago. Rav paskin that the Rotzeach that stepped out of his Ir Miklat and the goel adam was there and he shot him. What do we do with him? Nerag alav. We kill the goel. We kill the goel adam. Right? Even though that he stepped out of the Ir Miklat, the Rotzeach is absolutely not allowed to touch him. Now, this doesn't sound like any of the above mentioned shittus, It's certainly not like Rabbi Yossi HaGalili, but it's not even like Rabbi Akiva. According to Rabbi Akiva, if you want to kill him, you're allowed to. And here you're saying, not only you're not allowed to, if you kill him, you'll be killed. Who is that? Come on, look Rabbi Yossi HaGalili, look Rabbi Akiva. It's not like any of the above mentioned shitas. Says the Gemara, correct. There's a third shita I didn't tell you. Huda Amar ki hai Tana. The Tanya Rabbi Eliezer Omer, we learned in the name of Rabbi Eliezer, the Tana, Ad Omdo Livnei Haida, until he stands tried in front of Klal Yisrael to be judged, the Mishpat, Ma Talmud Omar. What is the pasuk saying? Lefi shenemar veratzach goel adam et harotzeach. The pasuk says the goel adam could kill the rotzeach. Yachol miyad, can he right away kill him? Can he right away kill him? It says no. Talmud Omar ad omdo lifnei haida la mishpat. He has to stand trial before anything else happens. So if he goes to Arei Miklat, and now he by mistake even, as we'll see, he steps out of Arei Miklat, you cannot kill him. Until he goes back and is adjudicated, his case is judged, and he stands trial and he gets a verdict, and then he's escorted back, then you could talk about it. But now you cannot touch him. And says the Gemara, wait a second, the other Tanaim also have to deal with that. If you're talking about before the verdict, what does Rabbi Akiva do with that? It says in the pasuk, Ad omdu lifnei ha'eda la'mishpat. What does Rabbi Yossi HaGalili do with that? What does Rabbi Akiva do with that? It says in the Gemara, Rabbi Yossi HaGalili and Rabbi Akiva, Hai ad omdu lifnei ha'eda la'mishpat ma'ai tafshin. What do they do with it? It says in the Gemara, Ubi ba'ile lichtatanya. That they need for a braita that says Rabbi Akiva Omer, Minayin leSanhedrin shra'u echad she'harag et hanefesh she'en memitin oto. How do you know if the Sanhedrin themselves are traveling and they witness? They witness themselves a harigah, they witness a murder. Can they take their guns out and shoot the guy? Can they just grab the guy and apply the death penalty that he deserves? Skila, sarefah, whatever it is that he needs. The Gemara says, how do you know that they cannot do it? I mean, they're the ultimate judges. And they saw what happened. They are, now there's a complexity of Ednas. A Dayan over here that you can't use a witness and the Dayan being the same person. But nevertheless, aside from that, says the Gemara, you can't do it because of this pasuk that says, Ad shi'amod bebedin, bebedin acher, Talmud Omar ad omdu lifnei ha'eda le'mishpat. You need to stand him in trial first in a different bedin, Ad shi'amod bebedin acher, and then only afterwards, those Dayanim who saw it, they could be witnesses and give him the death penalty that he deserves. So that's what they dashen from, a different than Rabbi Eliezer. So we have now three shitas for a Rotzeach that stands out of Arei Miklat. One is Rabbi Yossi HaGalili, one is the way who holds the mitzvah to kill him for Goel Adam and Reshut for other people. Rabbi Akiva holds that it's Reshut for Goel Adam, but nobody else is allowed to do it. And Rabbi Eliezer seems to say that you're not allowed to do it altogether before the verdict is given, even if you find him outside the Arei Miklat. Once he stepped in, you cannot touch him, even if he stands out, until he is taken to the Bedin, he is adjudicated, and the verdict is given. Then is a different story. But we'll continue this in this.